I was going to say, hello and welcome, except I have my mic muted. Hello and welcome. The truth is out there. The truth is out there, G.
I have no idea. Did you do the intro? I can't hear it. When you mute me for the intro, you mute everything. I can't even hear the intro.
Could you not hear that?
I heard it last week, but not this week.
Yes.
Oh, it's because I was muted. Oh, that's annoying. Should I do it again? No one was watching.
No.
I won't put the thing up again.
That's okay. That's okay.
Oh, what a shame.
That's okay. Yeah. So Ben doesn't even know what it is.
No.
Just play a little bit for Ben.
Okay,
Okay.
Quiet.
You got to get in the feel. You got to get in the vibe for
It
the
wasn't
show.
the normal one. Mate.
Okay, quiet on set. Quiet on set.
Ben's going, what the hell is that?
No, he's
Hey,
not.
see? Even Matt said no intro.
Funnily enough, that was my first ever ringtone on the old Nokia phone.
Man.
Well, there you go. You didn't even, mate, I don't think anybody heard.
No, I
the intro.
flubbed it. Because I muted myself. Rookie mistake.
Dude.
I actually muted myself and then played the...
like seven years in.
Well,
Unbelievable.
I'll say hello and welcome. And how are you guys going?
Mate, good. And mate, how good is this tonight, Ben? Like we've done all the research. I know Ben's done all the research because we were chatting today.
Yep.
But now we get to kick back tonight and just pull apart AJ. This is great.
Well,
Yeah, sounds like fun. I bought an extra few beers in just because I could drink more.
listen,
I bought a whole bowl of champagne to down while we were doing this today.
every year I do this run home fantasy analysis. And let me tell you, I get one or two people requesting and looking forward to it every year. No, I'm being facetious, but I like to do a bit of an analysis around this time of year. We've got 10 weeks of data. I mean, we pretty much know the good defenses and the bad defenses, and it's possible to look a bit ahead and say, well, in your fantasy playoffs in weeks 14, 15, and 16, which players are going to have an easier run than other players. And it's not, I always say this like I'm apologising for it every year. This is not be all and end all. I'm not saying that these players are going to absolutely ball out and others are going to crash and burn. What I'm saying is some have got a bit of an easier run and you could treat this like a probability. Like, here is the statistical possibility that this player's going to get good numbers, and you guys can be the critique and say, well, that's just a crap quarterback and a terrible offense.
Don't worry.
Like,
Don't worry.
I'm not putting my chips on them. That's not happening, and that's fine. You can do that, and you will. I know.
But but a lot of it's going to be stat based.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Hence a tweet that went out just recently, a purely stats-based tweet that we must talk about.
A stats-based tweet. Yes. Okay. Go for it.
That went out for.
I'm well aware that 75% of fantasy players across the world don't watch a down of football every week.
No, mate, they don't.
Really?
So
is that true?
I don't know if it's 75%, but I think probably there is a large chunk that does.
There's probably there's probably a fair percentage of the betting community that don't.
Mate, there'd be okay, say 75 too much, but okay, they get there and they sit on the couch on a Sunday. And
Red zone.
Red zone, or they flick between games.
Right.
And they might take in 2 or 3 games for the week.
Yep.
And then base everything else on highlights, what other people have to say, box scores, stats, and all that.
Right.
So yeah, I'd like to base what I say each week on what I see. Because, mate, we've seen and we've spoken about it so many times on this podcast, is numbers go whatever way you want numbers to go. You can argue the same point, negative and positive, using exactly the same stats.
Well,
just depending on what side of of the fence that you want to be taking the conversation.
And I think the tweet that you're referring to here, G, was an interesting one, because usually what you get is I like this player, and some guy comes in and goes, nah, that's not the player you like. This is the player you like. Whereas this wasn't necessarily that. This was two players who, let's be quite well.
I thought it was one.
Well, it was one, but we were talking like we compared him to somebody else, and then that's how the conversation got going.
Who is he compared to?
I put out three, not just one. I put out three.
So basically, on the back of what was a pretty horrific Monday Night Football match between the my Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Good for defense though, AJ. It was a good defensive matchup.
That's true.
I thought that the standout really was Justin Jefferson, who against a Bears defense that is extremely tough, particularly in the passing game. They've not obviously we all know what their offense is, but defensively they've been great. They get to the quarterback quickly, which has always been an issue for Cousins. And Thielen, even though he caught 2 passing touchdowns, only went for I think something 50 or 60 yards, whereas Justin Jefferson went off for I think it was 7 catches, 100 and something yards. And for a rookie, who we know there's a lot of them who've played well this year.
8 for 135.
8 for 135. So we know that there's a lot of them that have hit this year. We talked about it a bit last week. I think that this rookie class for wide receivers just been phenomenal, and particularly when we were looking at what rounds wide receivers were going in. I think AJ, you made the point. Past the first and second round, it gets tough. So and I put out a tweet. There was I think a highlight.
A homer tweet.
A homer tweet. But it was Justin Jefferson completely bamboozling a veteran in Fuller and winning his route, and that was the story of the night. Really, he I think
not the first time has been bamboozled though. To be honest.
Well, at least it was Desmond Truth, mate. I could have.
It would have made 235.
But no, I basically my tweet was accompanied by rookie wide receiver number 1 ... and it's not even close. To which the fantasy community
exploded.
I didn't explode, mate. I just said I think we're sitting on the stats based side of the fence. So I just said, well, you got to look at CD Lamb. You have to look at someone who I think is going to be a fantastic football player. He's going to be a great wide receiver to watch, and he is as a rookie, and that's Chase Claypool.
You're forgetting T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. I've seen a lot of I watch all the games, and I'm not having nothing disparaging against Justin Jefferson, mate. He looks fantastic.
Doesn't he look good?
42 receptions, 762 yards, 3 TDs, 96.2 fantasy. But I sort of also look at if you the one person like CD Lamb. I think what he's done as a rookie has been phenomenal. And you look over his last 3 weeks, haven't been that great, but mate, I think they're looking around some Texas high schools now, for quarterbacks, and we've got Andy Dalton back. But if you look at what he was with Dak Prescott there in the first week of Andy Dalton, he's been phenomenal in what they've asked him to do, and who else is on that offense that he's competing with for touches. Yeah. I think you have to put that. And look, I'm a big fan of Chase Claypool. I didn't really have him that highly rated, but that's my own fault, based on the fact that at Notre Dame, his quarterback sucked. So that sort of doesn't make you look as good. And probably I should have looked a little bit deeper into him. But if you go and watch his games, mate, the amount of times that Ben misses him, that he's got the corner so beat, it's ridiculous. So if you take into that in consideration, which doesn't show up, it just shows up as a target and then receptions. And there's this gap in the middle that, well, what happened? Why did he drop the ball? No, but mate, Ben's trying a lot of wild balls at the moment. Even though, look, what are they, 9 and zip? Yeah. And they look great, but there are a lot of balls that he's just sort of throwing up there and they're not really close. And Chase Claypool has been, on the better side of a touchdown on that many occasions, it just doesn't show up. And I think, if you looked at stats, they're the things that you miss. Unless you watch the games, they're what you're missing. You just look at the numbers and go, yeah, he's having a good season. And who's the other one? T. Higgins. Well, look what T. Higgins has been asked to be quarterback, absolutely fantastic. The good thing, Justin Jefferson's going, and Bear Ross, they've got, I'll say quality for at least one of them, possibly Ben, maybe. But the both NFL standard are starting veteran quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, and like I said earlier, that it wasn't necessarily a chat about, oh, well, no, that guy isn't good. We're dealing with a lot of good here. So how do you actually, how do you shake out the gold from the rest of the, jewels kind of thing? I guess it's a tough one. And, I think, like you say, the point that I was trying to make was that CeeDee Lamb was the one. I think Jerry, came in with CeeDee Lamb as well. Neil came in, I think, with Jerry Jeudy. But the point that I was trying to make specifically around the comparison with CeeDee Lamb was that generally rookie wide receivers are given a lot of time in the slot because they, that helps them adapt, helps them get up to speed pretty quickly. And Jeudy and particularly Lamb have played a hell of a lot in the slot. I think, Lamb's 85% in the slot. And funnily enough, Jefferson was basically a slot receiver for a lot of his time at LSU. But the impressive thing for me has been how he's lined up across the formation. He's only played 25% in the slot. And the second point was, he's not really in a passing offense. Kirk Cousins doesn't throw the ball a lot, and rookies generally don't have a lot of opportunity anyway. So, I just felt like, that sort of context behind it, what Jefferson is producing is probably way beyond what I expected. I was excited, but, obviously he's probably got a bit more opportunity than the Claypools just simply because of, there's Adam Thielen and that's it in Minnesota. So he's going to be on the field a lot and he's kind of going to learn as he goes as well. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting conversation when you're talking about, all right, so if you have to pick one, right, who do you pick? And granted, G, it's only week 10. It's only week 10. So you sit on the couch for the next 6 weeks, mate, and you let me know at the end.
That's like you said, it's probably the CeeDee Lamb, he plays in the slot, but that's his position. Do you know what I mean? He was drafted to play that spot. He has two guys on the outside already. So that's what he's asked to do, and he's done it incredibly well. In a very tough position. Like knowing that probably nearly every time you catch the ball, just ask, like what I've always spoken about, just ask Julian Edelman, who I think is one of the toughest bloody footballers that I've ever seen, just for the amount of pounding that someone gets and keeps doing it. My page.
Andrew, go trade for Jefferson Claypool. There you go. There's your conversation.
We're just talking about, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about rookies as football, isn't it?
Yeah, but
how many years do you have where you could actually go out and actually start so many rookie wide receivers in your fantasy teams?
Yeah, it's a damn good rookie class. For sure.
I'm starting. I don't have any stock in Justin Jefferson, but I have Chase Claypool. I start him every week.
Yeah.
If I had CeeDee Lamb, I'd be starting him every week.
T. Higgins, you can start every week.
T. Higgins, you can start every week.
Michael Pittman's just come out.
Well, this is what's going to happen. And we still have look what Michael Pittman last week. What was it? Went over 100 yards last week.
Yep.
And I was always worried about Michael Pittman. Like I'm a big fan of Michael Pittman.
With Rivers.
Phillip Rivers
yep.
was the biggest concern.
Last year, you get laughed at in a redraft league if you were taking rookie wide receivers.
Absolutely.
Maybe as the last round flyer or two, but that's it.
Okay. All right.
So
let's keep things moving. All right. So.
Not disagreeing with you though, Ben. Don't want to got some angry tweets back.
Now, guys, you I'm sure will agree with me that there are some really, really good defenses in the league and some terrible ones. And the really good defenses do make a difference to fantasy output. And the terrible ones make a difference to fantasy output, correct? Done. That's it. No, I'm just kidding.
Finished.
All right, finished. No. So listen, just I'm going to give you a few little pop quizzes as we go. So, off the top of your head, this will be easy. Give me some of the best defenses in the league. Full stop.
Steelers.
Yes.
Have to be number one.
Steelers, yeah, they're in the top 5, yes.
Ravens.
Yes. Top 5, yep.
I would also probably say the Chiefs.
Yes. Now the Ravens, Steelers, and Chiefs. Actually, I should preface this by saying that what I've done here is by fantasy points. So I'm not talking real NFL defenses. It's sort of the same, but by fantasy points, the Ravens, Chiefs, the Ravens, Chiefs, and Steelers are all equal 4th. But give me the top. You haven't given me any of the top 3 yet.
Bucks.
Yes, number 3.
In
fantasy points. Correct.
Miami.
No.
Well, that's not bad though.
Where are Miami?
Washington.
Miami are they're actually middle of the pack. They're 14, believe it or not.
Washington.
Nope. Washington are 11.
What?
Yes.
11.
Yep, they're 11.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
I looked up what we were meant to be doing tonight before we've changed because AJ done some actual research for a change.
Yeah.
I looked up the Washington and they were in like the top 5 of like run defense and pass defense, aren't they?
No, they're 19th for run defense.
Okay.
Anyway, who's the best one? I can't believe you haven't given me the best one yet. Oh, thank you, Andrew. Voice of sanity. The Colts are at 1. Thank you, Matt. The Rams are at 2, and the Bucks are at 3. And no, not the Swans, not the Swans D. But nice try, and not the and not the Chargers.
Swans D means nothing when they're playing against the Tigers, who are the best overall. You know.
And see if you can give me the 5 worst fantasy defenses. And by worst, we mean the best, right? Because these are the defenses you want to be playing. Yes, Falcons are number 4, 4th best. What's
Seahawks?
that? No, not the Seahawks, no.
What?
Seahawks are very, very bad. They're the worst team for wide receivers, right?
Yes.
But
that doesn't put them up there.
No, because they sort of balance it out in some other areas. So overall,
I'm just going to say, if wide receivers are scoring that high, which they are, like against
the Seahawks,
Seattle,
yes, yep.
That means that has to mean that they're terrible against quarterbacks as well. It has to be. How do you have one without the other?
They are. Let's see. Yeah, they are. They're second. They're the second best team against quarterbacks. Second worst.
And the worst. Yeah, and the best team to play against for wide receivers.
Yes.
You're telling me the quarterbacks are...
But 18th for running backs and 22nd for tight ends.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. All right.
Oh, no, it's not your fault. I don't see how that works.
Might sound weird, but the 49ers?
No. So Matt's given me the Cowboys. They've definitely won. They're the second.
Browns?
They're at number 2. No, not the Browns. Falcons at number 4. The best team to play is the Jags. So Cowboys, Titans at 3, and Jets at 5.
Jets. Oh, really? Jets. Okay.
Yep. So let's go to quarterback. So obviously breaking it down by position now. So the 5 best teams, if you're a quarterback, the 5 best matchups for quarterbacks. Number 1, Falcons. Sorry, G. I always do this to you every year. The Falcons are in there. Falcons, Seahawks, Jags, Vikings, Titans. They're the 5 leakiest, almost generous teams for quarterbacks. So then what I did is I had a look to see, based on week 14, 15, and 16, and using all of those figures and matchups, the best statistically, the best matchup or combination belongs to someone, the future Hall of Famer, and someone who's already got enough rings to, fill one hand, Tom Brady. Tampa Bay are home to Minnesota, away to Atlanta, away to Detroit. That's their run home. So Tom Brady has got 14, 15, 16 amazing matchups. Now, what he does with it is another thing, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
Right. And I should also preface this by saying this is probably, some of these guys, like if you're playing Dynasty, don't go out and like mortgage the farm to get them. But redraft is a bit of a different story.
So who are the top 5 quarterbacks?
Yep.
If you're given the best 5 defenses to play against the quarterbacks,
Yeah.
Have you got there the top 5 quarterbacks to have for the run home?
Yes, I have.
Okay, cool.
So number 1 is Tom Brady. Number 2 is Patty Mahomes. Away at Miami, away New Orleans, home Atlanta, week 16. Number
happy days.
Number
Happy
3.
days.
Now,
if he even plays in that game, I'll be surprised.
well, that's a see. There's another thing. Now,
who's the backup in?
Chad Henne,
is it?
Isn't it? Or is it?
Yeah, but
Chad Henne.
Yeah, but but I mean, come on, would you be going out to get Chad Henne now?
Mate, week 16, Patty Mahomes against the Vikings, against the
Falcons.
It's like, mate, you've won. If you got Patrick Mahomes, you've won.
Home to the Falcons. He's home in Kansas City. Yeah.
Oh.
So the third best is a guy, I'm not even sure if he'll be playing, but Chicago. So I wrote down Nick Foles, but will it be Nick Foles? I don't know.
I think they're currently reassessing the position, whatever that means. I'm not sure. They reassessed the play calling. That didn't really think so.
Every time you like someone in the 5, it's just like someone that you're not going to start anyway. We have it every year.
Oh yeah, you're not going to.
It looks like Nick Foles is the guy this year.
Yes, so you'd start Brady. It's obviously you're starting Mahomes, and not Nick Foles. Number 4 you would start, and that is Justin Herbert. Home to Atlanta, away to the Raiders, and then home to Denver, week 16.
Have you seen? I know his numbers here.
Yeah.
Have you seen if he played like a full? If he keeps going the way he's going, mate, what numbers he's going to put up as a rookie?
No idea.
It's in the Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yes, I believe so.
Territory.
Yeah, I believe it is.
It's not going to be 40 touchdowns, but it's going to be 30 plus with close to like 4,500 yards.
Yeah, that is
incredible.
Quite remarkable. That is quite remarkable. I
did. His haircut's terrible. I think his mum did it.
I preferred his. It wasn't quite a mullet, but I preferred his sort of shaggy long surfer hair to what he's got now.
I don't know what the hell he was doing. Like, shape it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, do something.
Matt brings up a good point here. In week 16, KC could be trying to win home field versus the Steelers. Very true. They're chasing. See, if the Chiefs were 9-0, then sure. But the fact that they're chasing makes all the difference. And the person at number 5, again, I don't know, is he the quarterback? Washington. So Alex Smith, I wrote down.
Yeah, forget about it.
So you want to know who's got the 5 worst matchups. Again, some of these you're just going to play because they're good players. But
Alex Smith, I'm nervous all the time.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Maybe because he almost lost his leg and lost his life. Maybe it was just a broken leg. It wouldn't bother me, but just
yes.
And maybe because we've all seen what the leg looks like.
Oh yeah.
Now it's just like a held together. Tape.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but last week, Alex Smith gave 15 targets to J.D. McKissick and I think another 6 to Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
So if he's giving you 20 plus targets to your running backs out of the backfield and you're in a PPR league, that's some serious points there.
Let me tell you.
J.D. McKissick gets 10 touches.
Yeah.
Do you know how many fantasy points you get if full point PPR?
10.
10.
Yes.
Because he doesn't go anywhere.
Well, no, but hang on, G.
There's no added yard. Okay, I'll give him 11 fantasy points.
You're not going to buy Antonio Gibson. His price is too expensive. But let me tell you, J.D. McKissick, and we've had this discussion before, G, points are points. Doesn't matter if Russell Wilson gets him or J.D. McKissick. If he's going to catch 10 balls every week, and you can get him for a 3rd or 4th round pick or something cheap, then I say why not?
if he can get yards after you catch the ball, would be even better.
Oh, he does. I think you're.
Antonio Gibson looks far better.
Oh, of course. But what are you going to have to pay to get Antonio Gibson?
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen.
No. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Catcher Raven, thanks for joining us. I know it's very
Thanks, dude.
Early or late there. Late, early, depending on if you've gone to bed yet, I guess. Now,
love the sitar too.
The quarterbacks at the bottom of this list are all really big names. Again, I'm not saying you should be trading them or not starting them. All I'm saying is you need to temper expectations. It's like when you play Indy. You know what? If you're a quarterback going up against Indianapolis right now, okay, if it's Patty Mahomes or Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or someone, you're playing them, aren't you? But you've got to have in the back of your mind, well, they're probably not going to have a ridiculous outing. They're probably not going to do fantastic. And that kind of typifies this bunch. So the quarterback who has the worst run in the fantasy playoffs is Deshaun Watson.
Well, that could come back and bite him on the ass, just about like who's he throwing the ball to.
Well, yes, that's right. 5:30 a.m. Yeah. Cheers, Raven. Appreciate you joining us, given the time.
Good effort.
Yeah.
Not out.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson has away at Chicago, away at Indy, and then home to Cincinnati. Cincinnati are middle of the road D, but that away Chicago, away Indy is brutal.
Yes.
That's weeks 14 and 15. You may not even make the final.
I think that the other point there is that the Texans just, their run game is awful.
Yeah.
Like in previous years, Watson has managed to at least be, very, very fantasy productive because he's had a competent running back. Even Lamar Miller, say what whether you liked him or not, he was an average middling running back who at least allowed Watson to probably throw 10 times more a game than he is at the minute. So, And that was one more apparent last week. They had 3 points by halftime and Watson had thrown the ball maybe 12 times. It was just horrendous.
Now, again, I'll stop repeating myself, but I'm not saying sell the farm, but all I'm saying is, if you're in a redraft league and you've got Deshaun Watson, you might be able to flip Deshaun Watson for it'd probably be Deshaun Watson plus and get a Patty Mahomes. Man, you would be so much better placed in the fantasy playoffs. It's a big risk, obviously, but I'm just saying. You could crash and burn week 14 because he's playing Chicago, and what if he brings home 10 fantasy points, right? And then you're screwed. So the second worst is Josh Allen. Home to Pittsburgh, away to Denver, and away to New England is his run.
Okay.
Not
too concerned with Denver after what their effort.
Yeah, and look, another weakness with the stats is I'm using the whole 10 weeks, and as you know, G, the thing changes. I know. I remember when you used to do. You used to look at the last 3 weeks.
Last 4.
Or last 4.
Last 2. Yeah,
whereas I've looked at the whole 10 weeks. So, okay, I admit that that's a weakness in the data. But, okay, the third worst would be Tua. Superflex, you're probably starting him. Probably not in single quarterback, you're not starting him. But he does look very good, I must say. Does look very good. Home KC, home New England, and away Raiders.
No pressure on Jordan Love. No pressure, dude. 3 quarterbacks look good.
Love is... No, that's it.
Look very good.
No, he's a bust.
And Tua looks okay at the moment, but it's a very, very small sample size. Jordan Love, no pressure.
And all you need...
Someone's going to fail.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, 3 guys are looking okay. No pressure.
I tell you, if you have Burrow, Herbert, and Tua all become, even just starting quarterbacks or better than average quarterbacks, that makes this quarterback class historic. It doesn't happen often.
Mate, you got Justin Herbert at number 8 and Joe Burrow's at number 14 at the moment.
I think the thing with Jordan Love at the minute is I think we're getting to a point, aren't we? I think now where if you're not starting out your first rookie year, you're already a little bit in trouble. Unless you're the only ones who've kind of had him recently who did sit out the first year, but he was always kind of you knew they were going to move Smith along and he was going to start. Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere.
No.
So that then begs the question: can he afford, as a rookie quarterback now, to go into next year and sit again? I don't think he can.
Well, in the past, it's worked okay. Worked okay for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, sure. It was a different age, though. It's a different time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's
Because everything's
time now.
Yep.
Everything's like, I can't click. For some reason, I can't click on my laptop. But it is, isn't it? It is. It's the society that we live in has gone into every aspect of how we live is disposable.
Yes.
If we can't have it straight away, it's just
Yes.
I mean, I've seen. I think maybe 3 or 4 of my leagues. I've seen Jonathan Taylor hit waivers this week.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that tells you, I think, the kind of fantasy world as well as real world we're living in, and I just don't see if you've got a Jordan Love you're probably still sat on your taxi squad. He'll probably sit there next year, honestly. But what do you do with him?
wait.
Yeah.
But you just told me he was going to be a bust.
I didn't say he was going to be a bust.
I said he was.
There's a little bit of pressure on him now, seeing what's happening
Right.
before him. Someone's got to be crap.
The odds are not in his favour.
The odds are not in his favour. But
Okay.
the problem with that too, Ben, is when you stick a guy on. Sorry, AJ, I'll let you get on in a minute. But when you put someone on your taxi squad only lasts. I think the ones that we play in is a maximum of 2 years. So after 2 years, you've got to decide what you're going to do with Jordan Love, and I'm guaranteed that he's still not starting in 2 years' time, probably. Yeah, that's as long as Aaron Rodgers is happy with where he is. It's probably got Aaron Rodgers has now flipped it, and that's all about, mate. I decide what I want to do. You're not deciding now what happens.
Yep.
So,
All right.
please.
The fourth
Sorry, AJ.
fourth worst fantasy matchup schedule is Kirk Cousins, who is at Tampa Bay, home to Chicago, and then away to
Justin Jefferson.
away to the Saints. Actually, week 16 is good, but you just, as I said, you may not get there. And then the fifth worst is Russell Wilson.
Sorry, week 16 is
Come on. The 0-5 Vikings are now 4-5, and we, look like we're gonna run. What was Rodgers saying? Run the table in the NFC North.
Yep.
Sorry, who did you say after the Vikings? Who did you say the last games against week 16? Was it
The Vikings, Saints. But that's a good matchup.
What?
That's a good matchup.
No, mate. Did you watch the game? Did you watch the Saints on the weekend? Holy shit! Was that not a mate? That they looked out of control on defense, mate. They were just they looked fantastic.
I shouldn't say a good matchup. It's a better matchup than Tampa Bay and Chicago.
Mate, if they bring that for the second half of the season, mate, watch out. Seriously.
Yeah, well, that's true. And then the fifth worst was
when Harrison Smith has 4 interceptions returned for touchdowns off Jameis Winston. So you've got to think.
We're talking about the defense, not their offense.
And the fifth worst is Russell Wilson.
Jameis looks all right in black too, just quietly all in black.
The Seahawks have got the Jets in week 14, which is okay. Then they're away at Washington, that's no good. And then they're home to the Rams, and that's worse. That's week 16. So, again, you're going to play him, but you just, and we've seen Russ be a little bit vulnerable, actually, because the last few games haven't been that great. Today, obviously, they had a win, but...
it looks like the NFC West is going to go wild. Right?
Yes.
So that is probably all those teams are going to have a meaningful week 16.
Yes. Now, before I move off quarterbacks, were there any quarterbacks you wanted to know about?
Where's Big Ben?
He's in Pittsburgh. 20th. He's got the 20th best, although his week 16 is brutal. He's up against Indy week 16, so that's awful. But he's away at Buffalo and then away at Cincinnati, so they're both good matchups for quarterbacks. But then home to Indy, so in your fantasy final, potentially, that's bad. Obviously.
The thing I like about Ben, though, mate, is that shit like that doesn't scare him.
No, true.
He's still going to throw. And mate, he's got a good bunch of receivers there too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The only one I'd be worried about, and I've got a couple of shares of AJ, is Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah, me too. And you know what? I traded for Lamar Jackson yesterday. I did a trade to get him, and I feel like it's a bit of a buy low opportunity. Mind you, it's risky, but you got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes.
What did you give up for him?
Oh, it wasn't that much. I gave up because I've got quite a few quarterbacks in this league. I gave Tannehill and Tua, and I got back with Lamar. I got Gallup and a first-round pick.
I'm not doing that for.
That's a good trade, I thought.
Oh, you've done. Yeah, you've made it like a bandit.
Yeah. Lamar has got the 9th best run home. Cleveland, Jacksonville, and the Giants in week 16, which is not brilliant, but Jacksonville week 15 is great. Cleveland week 14 is pretty good. So, yeah, 9th best. 9th best for Lamar.
Okay, running backs.
Okay, let's go to running backs. So, all right, cutting to the chase. So the best five running backs on the run home. Number 1, this guy's going to eat. And I don't mean Zeke. This guy is going to eat. It's King Henry, Tennessee. They're away at Jacksonville, home with Detroit, and then away at Green Bay. That's their fantasy playoff run. So Derrick Henry has got the best possibility there.
Yeah, Detroit and Green Bay, they're two absolute killer, like perfect matchups if you're in your finals.
Did I tell you the best 5 teams to play for running backs? Lions, Texans, Packers, Raiders, Panthers are the best 5. So Derrick Henry's got the best run. Second best run is Aaron Jones. Green Bay away at Detroit, home at Carolina, home at Tennessee. Number 3 is, I honestly don't know. You'll have to tell me who this is. But Chicago are at number 3. I mean, you tell me.
Like,
who's that?
It looks like at the minute because Foles is injured. He took a big hit, and I doubt he'll play. And to be honest, I thought they were a bit harsh on benching Trubisky. I thought
running back, Ben.
Oh, sorry, running back. Yeah,
It's just like Ryan Nall or Artavis Pierce.
Yeah, I think what you've got there though is you've got a passing offense, haven't you? So either way, you're going to be really short of options. I mean, if you've got a Bears running back, you're not probably starting him now, are you?
Yeah, and you're not even thinking of fantasy playoffs probably either.
No, as we said, like with the quarterbacks, AJ, is that the fact that there's always going to be someone on this list that it's not relative to who they're playing, and now we've just found out that it's
who it
the
is.
Bears backfield. Yeah.
Okay, number 4. Now here you go, Ben. Is the Colts.
Yeah.
So Naheem Hines and maybe JT is going to be a late bloomer, and we were hoping that J.K. Dobbins is going to come good at the end of the year. J.K. Dobbins might be more a 2021 possibility, but JT, because he's got away at the Raiders, home at Houston, and then away at Pittsburgh week 16. That's not great, but those 3 together, though, is the 4th best run home.
I just can't see the volume for JT there.
Yeah.
Even for the rest of the year. And also, we even more so, we know Phillip Rivers, yeah? So he's going to look to pass first, and if he isn't going to pass, who's going to be there on the check down? It's going to be Naheem Hines. So it's not going to be JT, and it's not going to be Jordan Woods. So I think it's surprising how much they missed Marlon Mack this year, I think.
Oh,
I think they really, everybody in the start of the year was going, ooh, sell Marlon Mack, because of JT and all that. And to be honest, I still think that that's a great pick from the Colts, and I don't think they could have passed him up at that point either. But in terms of his actual production going forward, I mean, he just looks completely out of his depth. He's probably one of those that, a bit like your Darrell Henderson last year at the Rams. It was clear that the coaching staff just thought he's not ready at all, and we've got to just accept that and move on. I'm not sure, because Matt got injured, that he's obviously been forced in to play a bit more.
Right.
But they've still, I mean, Wilkins was taking a lot of the short yard stuff last week.
Well, we saw that, didn't we, Ben? Like, I think the first time they were inside the 5 or whatever it was, outside the Naheem Hines touchdown that he got, as soon as they were inside the 5, it wasn't JT, it was Jordan Wilkins carrying the ball.
Yep.
And the week before, against the Titans, he got stopped twice on 4th and 1, did Wilkins.
Oof.
And then last week, they still give him it. They still give him the ball again. So, that's a worrying sign.
Yeah, absolutely. And fifth
People are
best.
saying it's this.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Maybe a bit of the Trent Richardsons. Let's hope not.
Oof, that's the name. That's the Voldemort name that will not be mentioned.
Indianapolis too.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a sore point.
After Trent Williams was taken in the draft, there were no running backs taken in the first round for the next 2 years.
Really? Trent Richardson.
The Trent Richardson effect.
Yeah, the Trent
Richardson. There's a good name for a band.
Maybe Jonathan Taylor's got his locker. Maybe he's got his locker.
Wouldn't that be awful? You get in there and they're just peeling the Richardson off. Here you go. All right. So at number 5, depending if this guy can get back on the park, it's either CMC or it's Mike Davis, I guess.
Nah, CMC.
CMC.
Look what he did, mate. Okay, shoulder. Okay, different injury. It sucks.
Yep.
But, mate, we saw what he did first week back.
Yeah, I know.
Did I miss anything?
He's such a tease.
While I was gone?
Yep.
Oh.
Home at Denver, away at Green Bay, away at Washington. Week 16, not great, but Green Bay and Denver, not bad. So the worst, let me give you the worst 5. Again, some of these guys you're just going to start, but there's some eye-openers here for sure. The very worst run home, sorry, Ben, Dalvin Cook, Minnesota.
I don't think that really matters.
It probably doesn't matter.
Mate,
it probably doesn't matter.
It's the Alvin Kamara thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, you're going to play him. What I mean, honestly, what? You're not going to not play him. Away at Tampa Bay, home to Chicago, away at New Orleans. That is brutal. That's a brutal 3-week stretch of defense, run defense there. The second worst.
Mate, New Orleans haven't given up a touchdown to running backs in the last 4 weeks.
Wow.
I don't know if it's 5 weeks because this is only giving me in increments.
Yep.
172 yards and no touchdowns in 4 weeks.
I'm just saying.
That's unbelievable.
Dalvin Cook, like last year, wasn't he the guy that in your playoffs just took you to the championship? I mean, this year he could be the guy who takes you to the playoffs and then leaves you the side of the curb.
Oh, on the altar. At the altar.
Yeah, leaves you at the altar. It's not likely. I'm just saying his numbers could be average as opposed to amazing.
Well, average for him would be like, 15?
Yeah, but he's an exceptional player, so he's likely to rise above it. But, okay.
He's going to get as better now, he's going to get the workload anyway.
Yes, so. But this particular player, the next worst one might have more trouble, and that's Clyde Edwards-Helaire, second worst run home. Away Miami, away New Orleans, home Atlanta.
Home Atlanta.
Yeah, but the Atlanta run D is actually pretty decent, believe it or not.
By then, mate. They're trying to move up in the picks by then.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They should be doing that now. I don't know what's come over it.
No. Third worst run home is the New York Giants. I don't know if that means Wayne Gallman or insert player here. Insert latest practice squad.
Wayne Gallman's looking okay.
He is. Yeah, he is.
He's won me 2 matchups.
Has he?
The last 2. Yep.
Wow.
I've had it.
He was a good prospect coming out of Clemson. He was just, a lot of people were like, oh, he's got like one of the best offenses around him. He's not really that good. He's, everybody's doing the work for him. But I'll tell you what, every time he stepped in, he's looked like he could start on a lot of teams.
Yep. I've seen him on bench the last 2 weeks, so that works well.
Fourth worst run home is the New York Jets, so I don't know who that is. Forget it. And the fifth, we're not playing anyone from there anyway.
It'll be quite wrong. Let's not kid ourselves. It will be fun.
It probably will be. And the fifth worst is Houston. I don't know if David Johnson is he on the IR to return, or is he just done? I don't know. Or Duke Johnson, he hasn't looked amazing.
I do not own either of those guys anywhere, and I don't.
Doesn't matter.
Ever.
Well, before we move on, anyone you want to...
DJ's in clipboard territory, isn't he?
Clipboard territory, yeah. Anyone you want to know about?
No.
I mean, the guy that I've got a fair bit, and you've just alluded to, AJ, is J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
And obviously, Mark Ingram was back last week.
Yeah.
Drives
you nuts.
I think Gus Edwards still got the majority of it there anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, I just don't know what value he's got outside of, potentially an injury happen really to one of that group. But even then, he's still not, Lamar's the goal line back, isn't he? He's gonna be at the goal line taking that run. So yeah, I mean, he's my RB. He's been sort of pushed into my RB2 in a lot of leagues because I had a lot of Eckler and Mack. So, that's do I go out now and go get, like you say, AJ and JD McKissick instead, or someone who's going to maybe see more volume, and even though, the offense isn't as great?
Well, it depends. In redraft, obviously that's a completely different story. Like Dynasty, J.K. Dobbins' value is still pretty high.
Yeah.
And deservedly so. If you give him the opportunity that Ingram and Edwards are currently getting, I think he would look amazing. You give him 80% of the touches those guys are getting, I think that he will look really, really good. He's looked good in the touches he's had. It's just been so limited though. He's not getting many touches, so he's not really startable. As you said, I've in a couple of leagues I've had to start him because it's just so, so it can be sort of desperation stakes.
Mate, it would have to be, because only twice this year he's given you like 10 plus fantasy points.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like week one, I think it was, like close to 15, just a little touch under 15 fantasy points. I said, here we go.
Yep.
and single digits all the way through.
Yeah.
Baltimore
does have the 12th best run home. Week 14, they're away at Cleveland. That's not great. But then they've got Jacksonville and the Giants. So it's pretty good, but it's hard to start anyone. And if you're starting someone, I don't know. As I said, you're probably going to be starting someone of a desperation, but who are you starting? Probably Edwards? Maybe? You can't start any of them, can you?
No, can't trust any of them.
No, you can't. All right, do you want me to go to wide receiver?
But still have time for someone to maybe become the guy.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, the best matchups for wide receivers are Seahawks, Cowboys, Falcons, Vikings, and Titans. They're the best 5 wide receiver matchups. And looking at wide receivers... What's that?
I said Justin Jefferson.
Looking at the run home for wide receivers, the best run home, and of course, I'm not just talking about the wide receiver one here, I'm talking about wide receivers across the board. So there's a few ways you can kind of swing this. You can say, there might be a few possibilities. So the best run home for wide receivers is the Los Angeles Rams. They are home to New England, home to the Jets, and away to Seattle. In week 16, they have Seattle. So I would think Woods and Kupp are going to have some good opportunities.
Kupp's been a letdown this year.
Well, yes and no. He's still catching.
He's got like 2 touchdowns.
He's catching lots of balls, though.
Yeah, but what was it last year? Was he round about...
Yeah, but he went in the second half.
Was it 13 or something he had last year?
Could be.
Plus the yards he was getting?
Second half of last year, though, he went real quiet.
Mate, I'm just looking at the Seahawks. Mate, the Seahawks, the most TDs to wide receiver up probably over 600 more yards than the second place team. They've been horrendous.
Yes.
Mate, they've given up 2,597 yards. They're going to give up over 5,000 yards to wide receivers this year at this rate.
That's
touch under.
That's bloody awful.
Right.
Second best team is...
Sorry, AJ, before you move on, don't forget your boy, Josh Reynolds, who I was reading earlier when the stats from last week.
Yeah.
He now has he had a 23% target share.
Wow.
Which is second only to Cup. So, it's interesting to see that. Funnily enough, I think probably the Rams are the only team that have a 3-pronged rushing and receiving attack. Like literally, they all share pretty much the same amount of targets across the board in the backfield as well as the wide receiver core. So, but I still think Robert Woods is on there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. Second team is the Bengals. So Boyd and Higgins, I would think. You're not AJ Green. Definitely not AJ Green. Boyd and Higgins. The Bengals are home to the Cowboys. They're home to Pittsburgh. Actually, Pittsburgh are soft against the pass. And they are away to the Texans. So it's actually quite a nice run home for the Bengals. Third best run home.
As T. Higgins passes Justin Jefferson as the Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, that'll be interesting. Could be interesting those final weeks. The third best run home is a team that's got, more wide receiver passing, more options in the passing game than you can put on count with one hand, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are home to the Vikings, away to the Falcons, and away to Detroit on the way home. So I don't know, but I mean Mike Evans obviously, but then I don't know Godwin, AB. Who do you pick?
AB has led in targets.
Yes,
since he locked up, hasn't he?
And that doesn't surprise me because Brady, he's a bit like Rodgers in that sense. I think he targets the guys he likes.
Mate, if you talk someone up,
yeah.
You're gonna throw him the pill just to make sure that what you was a fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, correct. Number 4 on my list for wide receivers is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, okay, move on.
Well, Travis Fulgham is playing quite well. It might be an opportunity for Jalen Reagor.
Not last week.
Jalen Rager's not far away, is he? Is he playing this week or close?
Okay.
What do you mean, please? He's the next Julio Jones, I believe.
Corey Davis is the next AJ Green.
There you go.
That's probably actually this stat probably more of a benefit for the tight end, really, isn't it? Dallas Goedert. He's probably the one who you might listen to that stat and think, oh, actually, that I'm going to start him. You've got another tight end or whatever. So
don't be trading him away. That's a bad decision.
In what will be a game that everybody in the country will be watching in Week 16, the Eagles are playing the Cowboys.
Oh.
So,
praise the Lord.
And in in the fifth best wide receiver situation is the Bears. And now Allen Robinson has proven, it's in the books now. It's not even a contested question. He's proven he's quarterback proof. So it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. Allen Robinson is a fantastic player.
So he's not that dude. If you ever played Call of Duty.
Yep.
No. What's the big dude in Call of Duty that comes out with all the heads and he's got a big helmet on and all that? It's really hard. Juggernaut. It's like he's a juggernaut in Call of Duty, mate. I can't kill that bastard.
Well, when does he come out?
He's gun proof. It's exactly as bazooka proof.
He's gun proof.
He's everything.
What is he? Like the Terminator?
Allen Robinson.
Oh.
It's just I can't get past that level because this dude's in the way. He's like Allen Robinson.
Now, do you want to know the worst wide receiver matchup? The worst one, and these guys are susceptible for sure. We've seen this over the last few weeks, and that is Seattle. Now, if you have DK or Lockett, you're starting them. I know you're starting them. But home to the New York Jets, that's pretty good, right? That's week 14. But then away to Washington and then home to the Rams is 15 and 16. Not good matchups.
No, 16's a bit good.
Week 16's no good. Second worst is the Falcons. Second worst is the Falcons. Away at the Chargers, home to the Bucks, and then away at the Chiefs.
Okay.
So,
But just playing, just whether not the Chiefs, it's just playing there is just, it makes you nervous straight away.
oh yeah, totally.
Just playing there.
And you know, in a normal,
That's really good, AJ, because I own a shitload of Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf this year, Calvin Ridley, great.
yeah, but those guys will transcend.
Hey,
but anyway, third worst is New England. So move along. Fourth worst is
It's like the ugly girl on Twitter.
what? Swipe left.
Is it left? Geez, you're pretty quick at knowing that.
Well, no, I assume that right is right. Swipe right because it's right. Is that right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Fair. I have no idea.
I got no idea. I'm guessing.
As quick as AJ was to know it, you were very quick to go, oh, is that how you...
Mate, I've got some single mates, mate. I know how this stuff works. I'm living my life through my single friends. So,
yeah. Do you work with them, G? Yeah.
Do I work?
Do you work with them, the single friends?
No. They're just good mates. Just a good mate. I live my single life through him.
Fourth worst is the Panthers, and the fifth worst is the Jags.
DJ Moore has been a clear disappointment this year.
Yep. Well, he's got a hard run home.
Yeah, and that's a guy who, I traded to UG actually in the league, but I certainly haven't missed. I think on him, like I did move him in a couple of leagues, mainly redraft. Just to compete or whatever. But yeah, just seems to have missed out, which is a shame because Teddy, when Teddy went there, you thought, more like yards after the catch here, more short sort of catches out of the slot. He's going to see a few different rushes. He hasn't rushed the ball hardly anything this year. I think he had a fair few rushes last year. All that's just gone to Curtis Samuel this year. So a few disappointing things there. I'd be nervous about more those last 3 weeks.
Yeah, because Robbie Anderson's been the guy that he's got the love eyes for. So
now, are there any wide receivers you'd like to know about?
No, because all the wide receivers that I have on a shitload of teams,
I've mentioned.
You just mentioned it and having like a really bad run home. So
any for you, Ben? You want to know Justin Jefferson?
No. I think you said they were in there, weren't you?
No. But
okay.
You know how I said the fifth worst was the Jags?
Yeah.
The sixth worst is the Vikings. They're away at Tampa Bay, week 14. Then they're home at Chicago, week 15. And now if you're still in the fantasy playoffs, then week 16, they're away at New Orleans, which is slightly better. But still, it's the sixth worst run home.
AJ, I usually book my holiday for week 15. I'm usually off by then. I'm down in a wood with no cell service at that time.
Okay, all right.
What about the Falcons? Did you say where were they?
No, I didn't. Oh, no, I did, didn't I? I said they were the second worst. Second worst.
Bad run.
Bad.
You kind of... I don't think that bothers me, though. Like, really, if Julio and Calvin Ridley are fit, they're the two guys I have a bit of Russell Gage, but you got to feel like they're still going to produce. I mean, they're a passing offense,
yes.
Even though the matchup's probably not ideal. I think you're still plugging them in as both of them as WR1s.
Yeah, and they're going to become more of a passing offense because Gurley, as the year is going on, will start. If this is not the last year of Todd Gurley, I hope he's not at this.
Yep.
He's a bit like when you see the guys running with the parachutes on the back.
Yep.
So they start off, and the parachute hasn't come up yet. So
fair call.
Like by week 7, the parachute's about fully inflated. And
No. He started to look like these have taken the knees have taken its toll on him again.
Oh yeah. And look, I think
it was a bad pickup. I was never happy about the pickup in the first place.
I don't know what they're thinking.
No.
The thing, I mean, with this data, you're going to play your studs. I'm not suggesting otherwise. You're going to play your studs, but it's the guys who are probably like the average guys that maybe you'll sort of do a double take on them. You know, you might say, "Ooh, it's a bad matchup. Do I really want to play?" I mean, you talk about DJ Moore. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but like, I mean, DK and Lockett, you're playing them. Julio and Calvin Ridley, you're playing them. DJ Moore, maybe not. You know, or maybe it's, if you're in redraft, maybe you can bail on him for someone else. Maybe you can kind of roll the dice that way.
Well, it comes down to who you have in your squad.
It does.
Like you said, AJ, okay, I'll play the Calvin Lee and I'll play X player. But, yeah, this week I'm not going to play DJ Moore. He's going to be the one that I'm going to sit. I'm going to make a decision between 3 or 4 blokes.
Yep.
Based on what you've told us, maybe DJ Moore is not the guy to play.
No. Okay, shall we go to tight end? Now, just as a little bit of a disclaimer, whereas the point spread for running back, quarterback, and wide receiver was very wide, tight end is the standard deviation, to use a statistical term, but Ben will understand, but G won't know what I'm talking about. The statistical deviation for tight end is very small, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you?
I look at these numbers every week. I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right. Like, you know, the best tight end team to give up points is giving up 11.33 points per game, and the worst one is giving up 7.6. Oh no, sorry, wrong.
Well, I'll just while you're looking at that, I'll just what you were talking about. Number 4 tight end, right? 99 fantasy, almost 100.
Yep.
Andrews 98. Kittle, 98. Hurst 96.
Yes.
Jimmy Graham 95. Robert Tonyan, mate, like 91.
Yep.
90. 80. Like even just the tight end market is outside it. Take away Kelsey and maybe a little bit of Darren Waller, but Kelsey's so far.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be the same in teams not points.
Oh, hell yeah.
Close points between tight ends.
Yes.
It's going to be very close between what teams are defenses are actually giving up.
Correct.
To tight ends.
Correct. And because of that as well, like if there's any sort of accuracy to anything that I've said, this is probably the place where I'll be the least accurate, because tight end is just all over the joint.
Tight end is basically, oh my God, just score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Score a touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't get any yards, just at least give me a touchdown.
Is he a starting tight end? Tick. Oh, good. I'll start him. Yeah.
It's the old pulse.
Yeah,
got a pulse starting.
that's right. Exactly. So the number one.
Go on, G. Yeah, go on, AJ, because I was going to say the only guys you probably, you know, in a year as bad as this, I think, you know, with tight ends, the guys you're probably looking at are the guys who aren't tight ends. You know, so like you Mike Gesicki, Evan Ingrams, who are basically wide receivers and you know, are classified as tight ends because they do watching every now and again.
Well, maybe I can give you some dart throws here. Mm-hmm. So the top 5 teams to play if you're a tight end, number 1 is the Falcons. Number two is the Bengals. Number 3 is the Chargers. Number 4 is the Jags. And number 5 is the Bills. And the best run home for a tight end, believe it or not, interestingly, is Noah Fant. Denver Broncos. Away at Carolina, home to Buffalo, and away at the Chargers. That gives him the best run home of any tight end.
Is he constantly playing with an ankle at the moment?
Yes, seemingly, but at least he's playing, and as long as he keeps playing, I don't think there's a problem. And you know, with the other injuries and stuff that's going on with their offense, he's getting targeted as well, quite a lot. So that's pretty good. Number 2,
it's quite weird with Noah Fant. Like I had him as the second best tight end coming out.
Yeah,
and I didn't like him.
No,
not that I didn't like him. I wasn't that high on him, even though I had him at number 2.
Yes,
to say how much, but
well,
it'd be interesting to see start anyone.
Is basically the moral of the story.
Mate, you could probably hold that up for the last decade.
Yeah, I have to laugh, but it's like, how many years have I done this for, G? Have I done this run home analysis thing? Maybe 5 years
mate,
or something.
Oh yeah, at least. Mate, probably we've been doing the pod, which is what, 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, and every year, there's always the phrase, "Oh, gee, I'm sorry. The worst team for X is the Falcons." Like they're always in there.
It'd be really interesting talking about if Alberto was an IR and he was healthy, just to see what knowing that Fant is, and he probably, if they had someone else to play, they might not get him out there as much as they are.
I personally feel
what he could do.
I personally feel a little bit like Fant is a dynasty sell because of Albert O. Albert O looked very good.
I agree, and what we were meant to be talking about, the research that we were doing for this week's alternate topic, I would have definitely been talking about Noah Fant because, you think about the capital as well, first round pick there, only a couple of years ago, at that time, they had an aging quarterback situation. You didn't really know who was going to be a quarterback there. And then they've got the young quarterback. And usually what you see is the young quarterback, connecting with guys like the tight end pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And that just hasn't happened, he's not, when we look at, fantasy points, something like TJ Hawkinson is way ahead of him in that sense. He's like below, that group that G mentioned, like he's touching 85 points. But funnily enough, when Drew Lock has been under center, he hasn't caught more than 4 passes. So, you got to wonder whether, like you say, is he a sell now? What could you get for him right now? Would you take a second for him?
Oh, a second?
Yeah.
Hang on a sec.
I'm out.
Good night.
I'm out for sure.
What, a second?
Oh, a second.
You'd sell him for more than a second, I reckon.
Mate, no. What do you mean, mate? No one's going to give you a first
for Fant. No.
If you got a second for Noah Fant, mate, I'll be taking. Yep, I'll flog him off for a second, and I'll back myself that I'll find somebody else in the second round in a rookie draft.
Yeah, but as you said when you read off the best tight ends so far this year, it's a wasteland, and I think Noah Fant's worth more than a second round pick.
Fant's number 13. Well, mate, he's not, because you're not going to get a. Seriously, someone's going to give first for mate.
Well, flip him for
Noah Fant, mate. Mate, I'll come round there and I'll wash your car.
Give me a second round pick and a player. Then a second round pick and a decent player.
A decent player. I'd probably be taking a player that I felt that's going to be better in the coming year. I don't think they and a player, but no offense. I might be wrong because we'll look at the trades differently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. It depends on the league too. Okay. Second best run home. Now there's a big question mark here, and I don't know what the answer is here.
Sorry, before you move on, let's put it this way: if you're in a draft, a 12-team league, say, are you going to use a first-round draft pick on a tight end?
No.
Well, why would you give away a first-round draft pick for Noah Fant then?
Because tight ends are tight ends are very hard to find.
Sorry, Ben, what was that?
Tight ends are very hard to find, G.
So you wouldn't take one in the first round of a draft, but you're willing to give away a first-round draft pick for a tight end.
That's not how draft picks work, G.
Well, this is a different
that's not how the value works.
Okay.
But I think he's worth.
He is a sell.
He's a sell.
The only person I'd give a draft pick the first round would be Travis Kelce, and I still wouldn't do that because I don't know how long Travis Kelce's got left in him.
Yeah.
Unless I had a team that could win now, and I wanted to win now, that's it. I don't know anybody else playing at the moment. Or maybe George Kittle. Granted, George Kittle.
Kittle's young.
I'd give it away a first. Yeah, but George Kittle's starting to get more and more injured.
I know. And in a league that I've got George Kittle, and this year he's obviously been more injured than he was not, and now he's scrubbed. But I can't sell him. Believe it or not, this is hard to believe, but I can't sell him. Probably because also, I want like 95 cents on the dollar. I'm not selling him cheap, but still what I'm saying is He's not that easy to sell anymore. I think because of the injuries.
And they're starting to
Yeah.
down apart.
Yes. If he comes back, so let's say, okay, what happens if George Kittle, the beginning of next year, you could probably safely call him, like, this is just pre-week 1, he's the number 2 tight end in Dynasty, right? Behind Kelsey. But even Kelsey is like 31.
Keep going.
If Kittle gets hurt next year, then what does that do to his fantasy value? It's got to really plummet.
Yeah, mate, Kittle has to come out next year and have like 4 or 5 games, no injuries.
Yep.
Light it up.
Yep.
Then he's worth that.
Worth his value again.
Mate, I'm nervous about the amount of injuries that I don't know. Is it the same injury?
I don't think you can stop him being himself, which is just a guy.
No.
He loves the contact. He's
Right.
gonna go in. He's gonna give, and that's gonna take its toll on the body.
Yeah.
Like if you watch Kelsey, he's a big guy, obviously, and he's strong, just as strong as Kittle is. Just as aggressive. But his running style, he compacts himself. He gets the ball down. Whereas Kittle's kind of stays too upright. He's got his arm out. He's wanting to fight people off. Like Kelsey's just more robust, and he's a better ball carrier.
Yeah.
And he's not going to invite the kind of contact that Kittle. I remember with the knee. You're seeing Kittle getting hit around the thigh knee area because he's staying upright for too long and he's trying to hurdle past people almost, as in that sense. Whereas Kelsey knows, right, if I get down low here and I drive my legs, I can still get another 6 or 7 yards because it takes 3 guys to bring me down. So I think what you saw at the start of this year was Kittle being taken before Kelsey in certain rounds, in certain drafts. I just don't think you see that next year.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
No.
So number 2 on this list is a bit of a question mark. Well, it was anyway. It is even more so now, and that's Seattle. Now, Greg Olsen, Will Disley today. Now, I was a bit of a...
Mate, Greg Olsen is a dartboard. Throw at the dartboard.
Yep.
But you're facing the opposite way of the dartboard and you're throwing the dart behind the back.
No.
Seriously.
I'm not recommending starting Greg Olsen, but what I'm saying is I would have almost said Will Disley, but I don't think he's the guy we thought he might be. When Olsen was out today, they were playing what's the other guy?
Jacob Hollister.
Yeah. And Disley, I think, even had a couple of drops. He didn't look very good. So that's a bit of a mess. Okay.
Anything 3 tight end room that are seeing targets is like a 0.
Yes. The third best run home belongs to the Gronk. Home to Minnesota, away to Atlanta, away to Detroit. Gronkowski.
I like it.
The only argument you would kind of make is so many targets, but...
Mate, you're definitely getting into the playoffs. They're playing Atlanta. You're definitely getting into the playoffs.
There's just so much competition for targets in Tampa Bay. But Gronkowski's been doing all right, though, having said that. Because, again, Brady likes him. Brady will throw the ball at him. And equal third, in fact, the third best, equal third with Tampa Bay is Kansas City. So, again, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, in fact, has got the best fantasy grand final week. If you've got Travis Kelce, the Chiefs are home to Atlanta in week 16. So, sorry, G. And the fifth best is
just looking at Gronk. Just looking at Gronk now.
Yeah.
This is what he's done since week 6. 18.8, 17.2, 14.3, 1.2. Everybody had a bad week against New Orleans. 13.1.
Right.
Oh,
that's fantastic.
Oh, mate, he's probably better than Kelsey.
Bloody hell.
To be honest.
Yes. Yeah. I wonder how expensive he'd be.
Mate, you probably
cheapish.
I think people might be a little bit asleep, maybe a little bit of Gronk.
Well, not the Gronk owner, probably, but
Let me have a look at Kelsey. Maybe not. 24, 24, 21, 6, 24, 25. No.
No.
What a
yeah, but that's the
monster.
tier break. It's Kelsey and the rest.
Yes.
Okay, and fifth best run home, and we might have to ask our guest today about this, is the Vikings. Kyle Rudolph did sort of pop his head up recently, sort of say, hey, I'm still here. Still exist.
He only did that last week.
Yeah.
Irv Smith was injured. He was out injured. I don't think, the trouble is the volume in, Minnesota. I think Irv Smith, he's one of those guys where you're almost never going to play him in the right week. Do you know what I mean? Like he's going to bum when you play him and score 2 touchdowns the week you don't play him.
Yep.
He's too much of a risk there. So you can't, particularly in redraft, no way to start both of those guys.
Yep. Okay, so worst. Here's the 5 worst. The very worst is the Bills. So I don't know who that is. Tyler Croft, I suppose. It's not Dawson Knox. Forget about it.
Swipe left.
Swipe left. Second worst is the Dolphins. Mike Gesicki's been a bit disappointing this year anyway. I sort of thought Gesicki would be, especially with Tua starting, would kind of get a little bit of a resurgence, but not really.
That's left.
Left. Third worst is the Colts, is another swipe left. Because who is it? I don't know. Jack Doyle is hurt, isn't he?
Mo Alley Cox.
Mo Alley Cox. Who else?
Mo Alley Cox is sort of like.
I know
you're doing a lot of this and
Yeah.
a lot of this. And
It looked like he was the guy for a second, but
whatever
then
religion
no.
has something else.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, so there's 3 you don't have to really worry about anyway. The fourth worst, though, is Darren Waller, the Raiders. Fourth worst. Having said that, so week 14, bad. That's the Colts. So if you can survive week 14, then you've got the Chargers week 15. That's good. And then you've got, in week 16, you've got the Dolphins, bad. So it goes bad, good, bad. You just have to weather the storm, really. But it's kind of like that with tight ends anyway. It's going up and down, up and down. Might just be the same there.
Yep.
And the fifth worst is Washington. So I guess that's Logan Thomas.
Mate, but the Dolphins, okay, now granted what you were saying about the Dolphins over the last 4 weeks have been ranked 20th against tight ends. So as the season's going on, they're getting worse and worse against tight ends.
Right. Okay.
I think on the season they're about 10 fantasy points.
Yep.
Over the last 4 weeks, that's jumped to 15. So 50% worse against tight ends.
Wow.
Or giving up to tight ends over the last 4 weeks.
Okay.
Now, granted, I don't know who they've played.
Yep.
They could have played Kelsey.
Yeah.
Mate, just playing Kelsey would take you from like the best against tight ends to like almost the worst, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
On average. But, so that's where they're at the moment. So that's a really
versus Miami.
Yeah, so that's where they are at the moment. So that's a really. So what are you saying? They're one of the 5th worst teams to play against, and then now they've become almost one of the top 5 teams to play your tight ends against in the last 4 weeks.
See, that's what I was saying about standard deviation is that the numbers are so close with tight end that it doesn't take much to be a good team against tight ends to a bad team against tight ends. Because if you give up,
you have the Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers. Okay, hang on.
Where are they at the moment? Because over the last 4 weeks, they have given up 327 yards and 3 TDs to tight ends.
They're right in the middle. They're right in the middle.
327 yards you go against. If it's against wide receivers, it's not. That's against a tight end.
Yeah,
they've given up 327 yards.
Well, across the season anyway, they're in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're the best team at the moment to play against.
Really?
If you have a tight end. Yep.
Okay.
160 of those yards were to Travis Kelce.
There you go.
But he screws up everything. He's
Maybe we should take Kelce out of the data.
take him out. Have you seen? There's a show on TV with the guy, the other dude, in Step Brothers. He's a bit like the Fifth Beatle. I can't remember his name.
John C. Reilly. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, John C. Reilly's in is it called Moonbase or something about a group of guys get together and are sort of like being tested by NASA to see if they can go to the moon and like for a moon base or Mars or something. Yeah. Travis Kelce's in it.
What?
And they're all shit scared of him.
Travis Kelce's in it. Is it a reality show?
No, he was in a reality show though, wasn't he? About finding his girlfriend or something?
Oh, I have no idea. But he's in this show like it's like a mini, not a mini series, like a series.
Oh.
And he's in it. He's one of the 4 guys in this Moonbase thing. Let me just tell you, mate, he has the sharpest looking lines.
Really?
Like beard to hairline. Yeah, sharp. Mate, not a hair out of place.
Wow.
But yeah, he's in it. And everybody's shit scared of him.
He's a big unit.
He's a big unit.
There's no doubt.
In 2017, he did a reality TV show called Catching Kelsey. And it was all about a dating show where women fought for his attention to become his girl. Catching Kelsey.
How's that different to his life? Women fought for his attention.
A bit like me in my 20s.
Yeah. Any tight end situations you'd like to know about? It's all a bit of a mess, tight end, but any teams you want to know about or players?
Well, I guess the one question that really interests me is who is going to be the Travis Kelce in the next 5 years? Are we going to have because I think even before Kelce, it was kind of Gronk versus everyone for a while. There wasn't.
Yeah.
There's always been kind of a tier 1 and then everyone else, like you say, AJ.
Who's the next guy?
Who's the next guy to step up?
Yeah. I mean, Kittle's the obvious answer, but we've kind of talked about his injuries.
Besides Kittle, then. Yeah.
Mark Andrews is probably a guy who, he's very touchdown relevant. Though, like if he's not getting touchdowns, he's not getting the volume and target that Kelce is.
No.
I still think Mike Gesicki's got an opportunity there in Miami. I mean, let's be honest. He's been in the league, I think, 2 years now. He's had, bad quarterbacks, as in not real consistent quarterbacks. He's got an opportunity now with Tua to establish a bit of a rhythm. And, I think they like him there in Miami big time. So, I think he's the guy who looks like he could take that next step.
Whoever, someone like the Chargers, if Chargers can get another tight end, a younger tight end, good. There you go.
What's wrong with Hunter Henry? Yeah, Hunter Henry's fine.
But we know, we've seen what he is, and he's not going to be the next thing.
Oh, no. He's above average. It's just not hard.
But we're not talking about above average. We're talking about, who's the king of the prom.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
And he's maybe the king of the prom's not on this list. Maybe.
What about Jonnu Smith?
He's I would almost have gone with you.
He's been with Ryan Tannehill long enough, hasn't he, to know?
His play the last 3 or 4 weeks has been very disappointing.
We can't have.
No, I mean, if you're the next Travis Kelce,
we can have okay on your bad weeks.
Yeah, but you can't drop balls.
But you can't have disappointing.
No, you can't.
Did we ever say that Gronk was disappointing?
Never.
Oh, yeah, mate, he scored. He gave us bastard only gave us 12 fantasy points this week for a tight end. Disappointing, Gronk. Like, what are you doing? 1 touchdown and 30 yards. Like, what? Jesus, dude, what were you thinking?
I would almost. I mean, someone like Irv Smith, I think, has got a chance.
Irv Smith is probably, but then who he's got is his quarterback. It's going to kill you. Yeah, it's like when you have a dynasty in something, you have a core that just happen to all come along at the same time.
Right.
It's good drafting, but it's a bit of fate as well that they all come together. You get these guys gel together are great.
Yeah.
And I don't, and that was Brady and Gronk. We've got Kelce and Mahomes. I don't know if there's a quarterback there with a tight end at the moment who fits that demographic.
Yeah, I've just started doing a bit of, watching a bit of college stuff, mainly for the quarterbacks. And I watched the Gators last week, 2 weeks ago maybe. And there's a guy, they've got a guy down there, Kyle Pitts, I think his name is. Big 6'7", very similar build to your Kittle, to your Kelsey. Being totally it's just too fast for linebackers at the college level, way too fast. They can't cover him. And he's basically going to get drafted, I reckon, on his receiving ability alone. Tight ends don't often have to block in college anyway, so it's tough to really, to evaluate them. But he's a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he, maybe one of these teams who've found the tight end, the quarterback this year, and have a later round pick. Maybe someone like the Bengals might, if they trade back up late into the first or early second, because, Burrow doesn't really have a tight end there at the minute. So, you think it's, it's T. Higgins and it's Tyler Boyd and that's about it. Well, you could add a guy like that, Pitts, and suddenly that he looks like he could be a future tight end more.
Yeah, that's what exactly. I don't know at the moment.
No, that's very true. Well, listen, gents, on that note, so that wraps it up. So I've done all the 4 positions, best and worst.
Well done, mate, Joe.
And it's, take it with a grain of salt, but it's just kind of just a bit of information.
More than a grain, mate, handful.
And
no, that was useful for me, AJ. Although I'm just looking at my inbox, I got 6 trade offers from G in the last half an hour.
Mate, you're about the only person who'll trade with me here, Ben.
It's not.
I'm also the only person that you beat regularly on every weekly occasion.
You give me a hard time about that. Let's talk about the real stuff, mate. The last 2 weeks, I've popped you off in 2 different leagues. So.
True.
It's probably not the topic to introduce right now, but I because I'm trying to do a lot of trading at the moment, and the amount of people that you just don't get response from, it absolutely kills me. But anyway,
I didn't respond to one that got pulled, and I just didn't see it. I just didn't come across it, or I just wasn't looking at my phone that couple of days.
Was that from me?
No.
The one thing that annoyed me last week is I put a trade to a guy last week in a league on, I think maybe the Wednesday before, so a good week and a half ago. And he did no response. And I was like, I wonder if he'll, I checked on Sunday. I wonder if he'll do it just before the games on Sunday or anything like that. Like some people can do that.
Yep.
But then they didn't do it, no response. So I was like, all right, okay. And then today I get a notification 20 minutes before the start of the Cardinals he accepted it. It went straight through, and I traded for Christian Kirk, who then was sat on my bench. So I couldn't. I was like, "Oh, what a loser!"
Man, you've got to. That's on that topic. You've really got to take trades down before games start. Yeah, I hate that because people will do that to you, and it'll mess you. You'll have starters in your lineup.
I put them up there a couple of days before. Bang
out. Because you get screwed.
Just cancel it.
Especially being in Australia, because people will do it. It'll be like 4 a.m. for us, and people will go, boom, accept, and it'll take players out of your starting lineup. And then you'll wake up and find that you're short, which is pretty crook. So, but that's the story of my life. I wake up every morning and find out I'm short.
More ways than one.
Ouch.
It really has been your show tonight, AJ. It really has.
Well done, dude.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, look, I enjoy doing this each year, and it gives you a bit of information, especially in redraft. And I do kind of put my mouth where my how does it go? Put my heart where my mouth. No, I don't know. What the phrase is money where my mouth is a little bit. And I will use this in redraft. I will definitely use it in redraft. Not to be silly, you kind of go after the value guys a bit. But, there's some things you can definitely do. All right. And, on that note, like if you're going to be in the playoffs, but you're like at your sort of 5th or 6th, what's the phrase about, if you do the same thing twice, then you're stupid? or something similar.
But if you're fifth to sixth or you're seventh, and you're sort of in that realm where it's a win to get you in and out,
Yeah.
and you're sort of been 50-50, mate, don't you think it's about time you made a change?
Yes. No, it's if you do the same thing and expect a different result. That's it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but along the same lines is if around how trade goes, if you sort of like 50-50 on the season and you're sort of on teetering on making, well, either it's all or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's interesting, Edge, both of you, our Melbourne League, I think there's two teams at the top, G, that do nicely. But then there are 4 teams that are 6 and 4, and 4 teams that are 4 and 6. Like it's, that's very quickly can be a 1-game swing, and it's coming down to tiebreakers and things. So I'm on the 4 and 6 side, as are you, AJ.
Yes.
But it's very, very, very easy to, within 2 weeks be in the playoffs. So they're the decisions that you want to make pretty like now.
What is the reason you're 4 and 6? Okay, work out why
Of course.
I'm 4 and 6. What do I have to change?
Yep, absolutely.
What do I have to give to the guy that's 8 and 2 to make his team better?
I actually thought about that a lot through the week, G, and I decided that I should just not play in this league again next year.
But at least next year we might be able to actually get together and be in the same room.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why we do it.
Yep.
It's
Precisely.
And my work has just gone through a multi-million-dollar redevelopment, so we might even have a flash new war room to
Ooh,
wow.
I like.
with all the mod cons, so that should be good.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. On that note,
and a poll for the. I won't go there.
no, don't go there. On that note, I will wrap it up. Thank you, everybody who's joined us live or is listening back to this. Hope there's a few little nuggets in there. Maybe, maybe not. See how you go. And
of us talking.
yeah, and look, I'm more than happy to. If you ask, I mean, I've got this spreadsheet, available. You can just ask me if you want to know, what sort of runners player X got home compared to other players. You can ask me. And another thing that I didn't go through because just, from a time perspective, but you can kind of make up if you want to.
Perspective, and now 44.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't go through it. But like, if you combine players, like you could put together 2 tight ends to make a to make a tight end 1. You know what I'm saying? Put together 2 tight end 2s and have a tight end 1 run home, for example.
Yeah,
So
and leave another position totally off.
well, if you've got the space
you really
to do
struggle
it.
wrapping this whole thing up, don't
It's
you?
a money ball. Yeah. It's a money ball strategy.
Okay,
So, yeah. Okay. I should wrap it up. G, thank you very much. Ben, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who's joined us. We really appreciate your patronage. And have a great week. Week 11 coming up. Thanks for listening. And I never know how to write this.
On behalf of
on behalf of...
Ben and myself, we'll catch you next time.
Thanks. There, you did it. Okay. Thanks, everybody. See you later.